Hey guys, thanks for coming back. This weekend I saw Jersey Boys, starring John Lloyd Young and Christopher Walken. This is With the K Review. I am Victor 2. Now I'm gonna sing really high. Nailed it.
With a K review.
It's VIC?
No, it's with a K.
Oh.
So I think like a lot of people, I had the same reaction when I heard Clint Eastwood was going to be directing a movie that was based on Jersey Boys. And I think that reaction was, what? It's almost like you hearing me say this at the beginning of my show. Hey guys, thanks for coming back. This weekend I saw Mortal Kombat, directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Channing Tatum. I mean, in the past, Clint Eastwood's done a lot of great movies. The movies that have done all sorts of different types of things. $1 Million Baby, Absolute Power, Flags of Our Fathers, all sorts of different movies that's earned him like 4 Academy Awards. I mean, there really should be no way for Clint Eastwood to do a bad movie. And when I saw Jersey Boys was going to be a musical, I was like, I don't know if Clint Eastwood can really do something like that. And then I saw that they were going to add in a little bit of the mob, and I'm like, all right, you add in the mob and Christopher Walken, and shit, you can't go wrong with that. And in this movie, when I started watching it and started seeing all the different things that was happening in it, I liked it, but there were a lot of things that were really weird with this movie. The movie's actually based on the 2006 Broadway show Jersey Boys, and it starts out just like that Broadway show does. You know, you have all the characters come in, and they start, narrating themselves, like actually breaking the fourth wall and talking to the audience. And I actually enjoyed it in the movie, but the weird thing is that happened for like a little bit in like the first hour and a half of the movie, and then it really dropped off until the end, which was kind of weird. And just so you know, I actually haven't seen the Broadway show of this. A friend of mine let me listen to a couple of the scenes from the Broadway show, and I can tell you something, this movie actually takes the Broadway show and puts it onto the screen, literally. And to be honest, I think that was one of the biggest problems with this movie, was that Clint Eastwood decided that he wasn't going to do a movie that was just a biography about the Four Seasons. He decided that he was going to actually take the Broadway show and put it on screen. And the reason that that's a problem is that when you watch a Broadway show, you're able to have this little bit of a disconnect. There are certain actions that happen on stage that you can kind of take with a little bit of a piece of salt. And, you don't have to really invest yourself a whole lot into the characters. You're more watching the show for like the music and funny stuff and all that. But when you're watching a movie, you look for character depth, you look for like the director really letting you see behind the music of all the little different things that happen with the band. And there is some of that in the movie, but every time that it seemed to happen in every scene, like there was really like intense scene between two characters, it just kind of dropped off and everything just kept on going. I mean, even Frankie Valli's wife, like she would just come into a scene and scream and yell at him and then leave. And if that was on stage, that would be fine. And don't get me wrong, these characters did have a little bit of depth in the movie. In fact, the guy who plays Frankie Valli, he was actually in the 2006 show, and the rest of the other 3 actors, those guys all have played that same part on Broadway, and that's what I thought was actually pretty cool. They also sang on camera. I don't know if it was really like Les Miserables, and by the way, also Russell Crowe, Les Miserables, take it down about 5 octaves, please. I think I just told Russell Crowe to sing like really low baritone. Anyway, and don't get me wrong, I actually think this movie was actually pretty good, but there were a lot of points in the movie that I felt like I wanted to see Clint Eastwood really grab onto a lot of the characters, especially Christopher Walken's character, who played Gyp Carlo in the movie. I love gangster movies, and I believe Clint Eastwood, if he had not decided to do this movie the way that he did, could have made this movie really incredible with the amount of drama and the amount of stuff that he could have added with each character. But he transplanted it. He put the stage show on the screen, and I think that's going to throw a lot of people off with this movie, because even when I left the theater, I was turning around, I asked, an older couple of, hey, what you guys think about the movie? And their reaction was, it's very different for Clint Eastwood. And really, that's the thing, is like when a director steps out of his comfort zone and he does something really different, or an actor steps outside their comfort zone and does something really different, we don't really understand why they did it, because they were so good at everything else. So I think that this movie is a good movie. I want to give it a 2.5K, but I realized that Clint Eastwood really stepped out of himself. This guy really, really, really tried to give us something different, and that it was hoping we were going to accept it. And unfortunately, this weekend it only made $13 million. So what I'm going to tell you guys is that I can't recommend that you go see this movie in theaters. I'm going to give it a very normal 3K review, But if you want to see something completely different from Clint Eastwood, wait till it comes out on video, and when it comes into streaming, kick it into the top 10. And thanks guys for watching my review. I really do appreciate all the viewers and subscribers that I do have. Make sure to check down the description box below. I'm going to leave a couple links for Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons and a couple of YouTube videos of them so you can kind of give a better idea of what these guys are all about. And you know what? Give me a little With a K whack right here if you want to subscribe to my channel. Whack up there if you want to see any of my past reviews. And you know what? Whack out a comment below and tell me what is one musical or stage show that you want to see come to the big screen and who should direct it. And oh yeah, never forget, if you don't like what you're watching, you can always turn it off. Ears bleeding yet?